Hello and welcome to Tech Talk. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Microsoft Learn website. And we're going to be seeing how to navigate to that website and how you can use it to efficiently get valuable certifications that can help you start a career in IT or advance a career that you've already started. Now there's a specific reason why I'm making this video. And that's because I tried to do a couple of courses on Microsoft Learn back in the spring and I had an awful time with it. Back then, Microsoft was working on the website, they were making changes to the courses, there was all kinds of stuff going on, and what I found was the website was really hard to navigate, some of the courses were incomplete, and it was really hard to figure out what I needed to do in order to get certified. Now, Microsoft has rectified a lot of that. It looks like the website is mostly finished, it's been revamped, some of the courses have been redone. It seems like it's a lot easier than it was. But the navigation still isn't the most straightforward thing. So I thought what I'd do is I'd make a video to help first-time users and newer users quickly navigate the Microsoft Learn website so you can get onto those courses and you can get your certification. Now before we dive into the website, we should probably talk about why Microsoft Learn is such an important facility for people that want to advance their IT careers. The first, of course, is that Microsoft products are so widely used in business. You look at Microsoft Windows, Office Suite, Microsoft 365, Active Directory. Microsoft is integral to the way businesses work globally. So there's so many employers that use Microsoft products that Microsoft certifications you often see in job postings for IT professionals. So that's reason number one. Number two that makes this site so attractive is because it's so easy. Microsoft has made it great for learners in a low barrier fashion to get these certifications. Because going in and taking the courses is absolutely free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can take the course, you can do all the materials. When you're ready to write the exam, there is an exam fee, but you don't have to pay it until you're ready to write. So if you get halfway through a course and you decide it's not for you and you decide to drop it, that's okay, you're not really out anything. Now when you do have to pay for an exam, the exams are very fairly priced. They range from about $100 US up to a couple of $100 depending on the certification. So it's very easy to get in, get going with some valuable training. So that's why I think the Microsoft Learn site is something that every IT professional should be familiar with and know how to use. Now the easiest way to get to the site is to simply go to learn.microsoft.com. And that gets you right to the Microsoft Learn homepage. Now the first thing I would recommend you do before you dive in is to create a profile for yourself. Now I'm not going to go through the instructions for making a profile because it's similar to making a profile for any other website. But Microsoft has made it even easier because if you already have a Microsoft account, and let's face it, most of us probably do, you can simply sign in with your Microsoft account using the email that's linked to that account, and boom, you've pretty much got an instant profile on Microsoft Learn. The profile function on Microsoft Learn is handy because it keeps track of your training, it shows you the certifications you've received, and it really helps to keep you organized. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the site now and we're going to start off by taking a look at my own profile. The nice part about it is it keeps track of your training. So when you look here on the activity section, it shows you what you've done the last 7 days, what you've been working on. More importantly, it lets you keep track of your certifications. So here we can see that I've already gotten my certification in Azure Fundamentals and Microsoft 365 Fundamentals, and it shows me the exams that I've written. So it's a great way to keep track of everything you're doing in the Microsoft universe, the certifications you're getting, and where you are with your training. Now let's go back to the main part of the site. And the best part of the site for me, what I use most, is the certification section. So let's click here on certifications at the top. And this is where probably anybody who's interested in becoming Microsoft certified, this is where the information lies that you'll be interested in. Now if we scroll down a little bit, it says browse certifications by role. So if you're looking to be an administrator, a data analyst, a data scientist, you can click on one of these and it will pre-filter the certifications that apply to that role. Personally, I don't like using it that way because I don't find it as efficient. What I like to do is I like to scroll down and click here where it says Browse All Certifications. Because what you get on the next page is all the Microsoft certifications, and you can filter all of them using these various functionalities here on the left. So for me, I'm getting my first Microsoft certification, so I'm kind of looking at the beginner level. So I can tick off beginner, and now this shows me all the beginner level certifications. You'll note that the certifications have a logo that's white and blue, whereas the exams have a logo that's two-tone blue. Now, I'm not too sure why they split it up between certification and exam. That seems a little weird to me. So you'll have generally at least two, like the Microsoft Certified Power Platform Fundamentals. There's a certification. The exams that you need will also be in here. So just to make it a little clearer, once you've filtered, I always go down here to types and I just tick certification because I don't want to see all the exam stuff. I mean, that's built into the certification. I don't want that. What I want to see is the certifications. So now we've got all the certifications that apply at the beginner level. And when we look at this, there are two different certifications you need to be aware of. These ones that are in white and blue are the current ones. They're currently available and running. These ones that are blue and white with a yellow bar, these are the old certifications. A couple of years ago, Microsoft redid all of their certifications. They used to be focused on different software and services that you could get certified for. Now they're what Microsoft calls roles-based. So whatever role you're looking for in the IT world, they've got a certification that matches the role rather than aligning it to their software, their platform, or their service. And in fact, if we look at this one here, the MTA Database Fundamentals, if we click on it, the first thing you see is a big yellow banner that says this certification has been retired. For currently available options, please refer to the Browse Certifications and Exams page. So we know that's a certification that's not in effect anymore, so we don't need to worry about that. So let's go back to where we were. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at one of these certifications. It's probably the one that I'm going to be doing next myself, and that is the Microsoft Certified Security, Compliance, and Identity Fundamentals. I've already done 2 fundamental certifications. I want to get the third one. So let's take a look at this course. So when you click on it, you come to the page for this specific course. There's great information here about the certification details, what it's about, who it's for, and these 2 boxes tell you what you need to do to get the certification completed. So in this case, there's just one exam. That's the Microsoft Security, Compliance, and Identity Fundamentals exam, and then you've earned your certification. Now sometimes you might see that there's 2 exams or 3 exams, or there's different things that you need to do in order to become certified. This one is simple. One exam, you've got the certification, you're done. Now at this point, the first thing I would do is I would take a look at that exam, what the required learning is in order to pass the exam. Because the problem I've had with Microsoft Learn in the past is that when you look at the 2 ways to prepare, you can prepare online or instructor-led. So the instructor-led is quite expensive because you're going to a classroom and being taught by somebody, so it's a bit pricey. So for our purposes, I think most people are probably looking at the online free version. But the problem I've had is in past courses, and I started one course in the spring, and I thought, great, I'm going to do this course because it's a short course. I got partway through, and then I looked at what was on the exam. The course materials weren't complete. There was only about half of what I needed to know in the online learning, so I could never do the online learning and finish the exam. So that was the problem that I had before. I think they've kind of cleaned those issues up of incomplete courses, but it is still something to be aware of. So what I would do before I get started on the course and looking at the course material is I would scroll up past these 2 boxes to this section here. Each course has a section that says, to ensure you are prepared for the exam, we recommend fully understanding the skills measured. Now you see there's a link here, so let's open that up in a new tab. And that link takes you to the study guide. This study guide is great because it tells you exactly what's going to be on the exam. So it says objective domain, skills the exam measures. And the next section, these are everything that's on the exam. So 10 to 15% of the questions on the exam are describing the concepts of security, compliance, and identity. And then it tells you all the sort of subparts of that. 25 to 30% of the exam is describe the capabilities of Microsoft Identity and Access Management solutions. And then it goes down for all the various parts of the exam. Now, based on the 2 exams and 2 certifications I've already received, this study guide is the Bible when it comes to what's on the exam. The exams that I've written, I've done 2 of them, were very closely aligned to the study guide. It seems that Microsoft has taken care to make sure that this is correct. So here's what I would do before embarking on a course. I would go back here to the course information page. So this is the Security, Compliance, and Identity Fundamentals course. You click where it says online, and what you get is the 4 parts that are needed to prepare for this course. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I would take the study guide, I'm going to move it to half of my screen, I'm going to open this up in the other half, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through the process of making sure that this course is complete and everything I need to know for this exam is included in the online learning. So I've got the online learning here and I've got the study guide here. So if we scroll down, the first portion of the exam is describe the concepts of security, compliance, and identity. And look at this. This unit says describe the concepts of security, compliance, and identity. Now if we open this unit up, and we're going to talk about this page later, but let's just scroll past here. There's 2 modules in this part. It's describe security and compliance concepts. And here it says describe security and compliance concepts. This says describe identity concepts. Define identity concepts. So we know that the first part of the training covers the whole first part of the exam. That's a great sign. So let's look at the next part. The exam material says describe the capabilities of Microsoft Identity and Access Management Solutions. But the next part of the training says describe the capabilities of Microsoft Azure Active Directory, part of Microsoft Entra. Well, that doesn't sound like this. Like they're different. So do I need to be concerned? Well, let's open this up. Let's scroll down and look at the various modules inside the training. So the first module says describe the services and identity types of Azure Active Directory. Oh, look at this. The first subsection under this part of the exam is describe the basic identity service and identity types of Azure Active Directory. Okay, so that sounds similar. The next module says describe the authentication capabilities of Azure Active Directory. Oh, describe the authentication capabilities of Azure Active Directory. Describe the access management capabilities of Azure Active Directory. Describe access management. So as you go down, this is what you do, is you make sure that the parts, again, there's 4 parts to the training and 4 parts to the exam. Make sure that the parts and the modules inside each part conform to what's on the exam. And let's just skip right down to the bottom. So the last unit on the exam that they give us is describe the capabilities of Microsoft Compliance Solution. This says describe the capabilities of Microsoft Compliance Solutions. We click on it. We've got describe the Service Trust Portal and privacy at Microsoft. Describe Microsoft Service Trust Portal and privacy principles. Describe the compliance management capabilities of Microsoft Purview. Describe the compliance management capabilities of Microsoft Purview. So we can see, and I've already checked this out before, in the case of this course, the Microsoft Certified Security, Compliance, and Identity Fundamentals, the online course material matches exactly what's on the exam according to the study guide. Because of the problems I've had with this site of incomplete courses and insufficient course material, before I started on a course, I would go through this process of checking that you have everything you need to write the exam. Because I wrote one course and I got halfway through it, I spent 6 weeks on it, only to find out that all the information wasn't there. So it is kind of important to check. Now there is something you can do if you find there is a portion missing. You can click on here, so going back to the page that is the course material, click here where it says instructor led. The next link down takes you to the instructor led materials. And in some cases, material that's missing in the online section you can find under the instructor led section. Back in the spring, I found that the 2 sections weren't aligned. There was different materials on each one. So in the event that there is something missing that's on the exam that's not in the online training, try the instructor-led and see if you can find it there. You might be able to fill in that gap. So that's my first tip on using this site, is make sure these 2 things are aligned. And what I would do is I would print off or keep a copy on your computer of the study guide, and I would highlight each section as you learn it to make sure before you write the exam, you've gone through everything that you know is on the exam. So I think that's fairly important just because of the issues that Microsoft has had in putting these courses together in the past. So that should get you going on the courses. Now, I do want to talk about the layout of the pages because it's confusing. So when you're looking at these courses, what you always have to keep in mind, it's very easy to get lost in a course because there's 3 levels in the course. There's the part, there's the module, and there's the individual units. So a part of the course will have a number of modules, and each module will have a number of units. Let's see what that looks like. So let's say we're staying on this Security, Compliance, and Identity Fundamentals course. We've decided we want to take it. We like the fact there's only one exam, and we're doing the online way to prepare. So items in this collection, that's your learning material. Each of these are part of the course. So we see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to this course, and they have nice little logos to help us identify them. So when we click on so we're going to start learning, we're going to start the first part. Now you can see I've completed this first part already. I did it as part of another course, but let's go in anyway. So we click here, this page comes up. Now where I got confused when I first got on, I thought, okay, well these are the things I need to learn in this part, but they aren't. If you look, this is part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 of the course. These links here are exactly the same as these links here. So don't click on here and then come down here and start clicking on here or here because you're going to get led all astray. So this is just, I don't know why they did it that way. This is just repeating what's on the previous screen, so don't worry about it. What you do find sometimes, and this is the case here, is that there's something extra. So on the previous screen we had 4 parts to the course. This one has an extra part which says if you're new to security, we recommend primer, describe the basic concepts of cybersecurity. So if you're new to security concepts, you might want to check that out. It is extra. It wasn't on the previous screen. But generally speaking, you can ignore this part of the screen. So when you scroll down, it says modules in this learning path. Now this is where you're starting the training. So the learning path is part 1. Describe the concepts of security, compliance, and identity, which is repeated here. Describe the concepts of security, compliance, and identity. That is the first part of the course. And in this first part, there's only 2 modules. But as you can see, it says this module has 8 units. So if we hit the down arrow, there's all 8 units you have to do this one module. When all 8 of those are done, you go down to this module. Again, there's 8 units. You do all 8 of these units, you've done the second module. There's only 2 modules in this part, so once you've done both of those, you go back to the previous screen and you'll see that I have completed this part of the course because I did both modules in part 1. Microsoft, I call them parts. Microsoft calls them learning paths. I find learning path is just confusing, so I'm going to refer to them as parts. So part, module, unit, or learning path, module, unit, whatever is easier for you. So on this learning path, or this part, we're going to click in here. It says 0 of 4 modules completed. So we know there's 4 modules, so let's click on it. Again, we scroll past the header, and we see the first module has 8 units. The second module has 7 units. The third module has 5 units. The fourth module has 7 units. So you have to do all the units and all the modules, and then you are done part 2, or this second learning path in the course. So it's really important to keep that structure in mind. You have a learning path, or what I call a part, a module, and a unit. And the 2 of them are tiered like that because as you get working, it can be easy to get lost. So here we are in the describe the capabilities of Microsoft Azure Active Directory. That is the learning path or part that we're in. We go to the module that says describe the services and identity types of Azure Active Directory. And we click on describe the concept of hybrid identity. So now we're studying this unit. This is the smallest unit in this module. And we're studying it, we're thinking about it, we're doing some research. Half hour goes by and you've forgotten where you are. It's very easy to get lost and forget what module, what unit, what part of the course you're in, etc. Thankfully, the link is up here so you can work your way backwards. So if you're in a unit, you can just go to the next unit this way, or you can go back to the previous unit this way. This link will take you back to the module. So let's click on it. So let's describe the services and identity types of Azure Active Directory. These are the units in the module. If you're to hit here, it takes you back to the learning path, or the part of the course that you're on. So this is describe the capabilities of Microsoft Azure Active Directory, which we were at before. And here you see all the models for this modules for this learning path. If we go back from this page, And that's the original page we were back on the course. And that's why I always suggest that you have your course up here in the header. Because like if we go in and we go, we're in the first, we're going to click on the first module. We're going to click on the second unit. We study it. And then we go, okay, we're going to head back to the module. And we're going to head back to the unit. It's kind of hard to get back to the overall. If you want to go back to your overall course screen, it's hard to get back. So by having it in the header, you can just click on it and there's your course, there's your learning paths, and you can start all over if you've gotten a little bit lost. It is easy to do, so it's kind of nice to have that functionality. And that's why I would always keep that link to the main course page handy. So now the next question is, you've done all your training, you're ready to write your exam. How do you go about doing that? Well, Microsoft doesn't do the exams directly. They do it through either Certiport or Pearson VUE. So you have to set up a profile with Pearson VUE or with Certiport, and then you can go in and you can arrange your exams. Now the way you do that, we're back on the main course page. So again, this is Security, Compliance, Identity Fundamentals. We go down to the little boxes and it says Certification Exam for this course. So if you click on the link, that takes you to the exam page. Again, this gives you some information on the exam. You can learn about what score you need. You can learn about the requirements for writing the exam. And then you can actually, there's links here to go ahead and schedule it with either Pearson VUE or Certiport. As part of that, you will get a document, or you'll be offered a document that tells you about the standards for Pearson VUE or for Certiport for writing these exams. I highly suggest you read it, because when you go to write the exam, it is complicated. The exam options are you can show up at a testing center, which is what I do. I have one fairly close to my home, and I just prefer to be out of the house to write my exams. Or you can do it remotely through your computer. But there is quite a big process. Whether you go to a testing center or you do it at home, there's quite a process to make sure that you're doing it legitimately, you're not cheating, etc. I would strongly recommend reading all the information that pertains to the way the exams are conducted, because it is quite complicated, it is a little bit time consuming. There's some good things there that you really need to know, so make sure you read those instructions. But outside of that, you're ready to book your exam. This one here you can see is $99 US. The exams are available in just about every country you can imagine, wherever you might be. And hopefully you've done the coursework and you've got it down and you're ready to write the exam. Now, one thing about exams I would like to highlight. I am a huge believer in practice exams. Now, Microsoft has a practice exam service. If we go back to the main page on this course again, under the ways to prepare, we've got all our coursework, etc. But then there is a section that refers to practice exams. And that's right down here at the bottom of the exam portion. It says official practice tests for this course. So if we click on that, it takes you to mindhub.com, who are the official practice test people for Microsoft. And you see, depending on how long you want access, you want 30-day access to the practice test. It's $100 US, man. Like, that's as expensive as the actual exam. Everything I've heard about these MindHub practice tests is that they're not good. I've read a ton of reviews on them. Everybody says that they don't seem to really cover what's on the real exam. So I'm not really too keen on buying these. I think they're way too expensive and they don't seem to be all that good from what I've read. I haven't bought one myself, but I've read enough negative reviews that I'm pretty comfortable they're not good. So I'm a big fan of Udemy. My recommendation is go to udemy.com. They've got practice tests there that if you get them when they're on sale, and Udemy has a sale like every other week, if you get a practice test on sale, it may cost you $10, $15, $20. But they're probably every bit as good as these ones. Now, the caution I will give you is that the practice tests on Udemy often have way more on them than the real actual Microsoft exams do. So I did the practice tests on Udemy for both of my exams, and I did all the Microsoft training. I did the practice tests. I was like, man, these practice tests, there's a lot of stuff on here that I don't ever remember being in the Microsoft training. Like, what's going on? That is because the people writing the exams, I don't think really have access to the actual Microsoft exams, so they're kind of guessing at it. They were super helpful in getting the principles down. But if you choose to go to Udemy and to do some practice tests there, they will be cheaper. But if you run across questions, it's like, man, I never saw that in the Microsoft material. I don't get it. That's probably not on your exam. Like I say, the practice exams there, they tend to go into way more depth. The Microsoft exams are very straightforward. It's what's on the study guide and what's in the course material. They're quite good about that. They don't go beyond. So when you're doing the practice test, if there's things on the practice test that you know weren't in the Microsoft study material, don't worry about them, just move on. So however you want to do that, you could buy these ones and try them out. You could go to Udemy, get them for much cheaper, and you'll get some questions that don't apply. But I did it for both of my exams. I did the Microsoft training. I did the practice exams on Udemy that applied to that course. And I did great on the exams. They were dead simple. I wrote them fast. I got great scores. So it does work. It's just there's a few little things you need to know about to kind of work your way around so that you're not wasting a lot of time doing things that aren't going to be helpful. So that's it for this video. I hope you find that helpful. I know I went through the material really fast. If you do have questions, don't hesitate to put them in the comments below or visit me on my site at www.tektalk.net. That's tektok.net. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.